Dry Bar comedy fans. We're live. I'm your host, Seth Tippetts, here today with me, the very funny man himself, Cleto Rodriguez. How you doing, Cleto?
Good, Seth. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great. we've had some controversy this weekend, and I'm sure you mentioned before you've been asked by all your friends and family. But what'd you think about that? The Oscars, pretty interesting this
Wow.
year, huh?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I thought that was crazy, insane that Dune did not win for Best Picture. Right off the bat. That really caught me off guard. I thought cinematography would have really kind of took
It was
over,
a
but
it was
no,
a
yeah,
fantastic movie, and definitely the
yeah,
highlight of the night that it didn't win. It
you
was
know,
quite the upset. I was upset after
yeah.
seeing that.
I mean, did anything else happen?
I Not that I saw. No, I've uninstalled Twitter.
Yeah, I tell you, there's certain things that I found out. Yeah, it was pretty crazy. Just how that whole thing went down at the Oscars with Chris Rock and Will Smith. I've been asked by a lot of family and friends about, what was my take on it, and I said, well, obviously we found out we don't talk about Bruno and we don't talk about Jada Pinkett Smith. I can tell you that right now. So that's what I got out of that. So it's kind of crazy, but well,
It
I mean,
seemed like a pretty tame joke, GI Jane.
yeah, and I don't think. I mean, there's so many facts that are kind of just not
Sure.
there, and you go by what you see, and I mean, for the most part, it's kind of like, what do you do in that situation? I mean, it's like, I mean, I've had hecklers before, but never one to come up on stage and take a smack at me. I mean, but then again, I've never made really. I mean, I don't think I've ever made fun of anybody's wife per se, but just hecklers in themselves, just kind of like don't go at them like that, I guess. But it was kind of crazy. It was crazy. It's the talk of the
Well,
town, that's for sure.
and it's not even like if it'd be one thing if he was just roasting her, just hit after hit, but it
Yeah,
was a
yeah.
single joke,
It was
one
one joke,
joke,
yeah,
which blows my
and
mind.
it was kind of crazy. It was out of character for Will Smith, and it was confusing because I thought it was a bit.
I thought it was a
I
bit
honestly
too
thought
when I
I
first
thought
saw
it
it.
was a bit
100%.
because he went to go sit down, and I'm thinking, man, that's some pretty good timing on Will Smith and Chris Rock's part on the slap. I'm like, wow, he just turned his head right at the same time,
Yeah, it looks
and
like
I looked and
what
I
a
was like,
great pratfall.
yeah, I was like, this guy's good. He should get the Oscar. And
Oscar
all
for
of a sudden,
best punch, best
yeah,
slap.
best punch, and I honestly thought it was a bit. No security came, and all of a sudden I hear Will just, say what he said at the seat, and I'm thinking, oh no, yeah, that was
Yeah.
real. That was real. And when
And
a
you could
man
tell how
says that,
surprised Chris Rock looked. Like his face was just like, "What are you doing? Why are you getting up on stage? This is." It was,
oh, I mean this, yeah, he didn't even he had no clue. And I mean, I'm getting a kick out of all the memes that are coming out. I mean,
oh, I
there
know.
was one I saw that Chris Rock woke up and he felt on his face Fresh Prince.
uh,
I was like, that's pretty funny. And but yeah,
I saw
uh,
there's someone took an "Everyone Hates Chris" like the logo from the
oh
TV
yeah,
show and put that over a screenshot of the slap.
yeah. I mean, I'll tell you, he took that on the chin pretty good. I mean, he
Oh my
didn't
gosh.
touch his face or anything. I was like, wow. I think Will's got to go back to the gym or something. Kind of, it was kind of crazy. It was kind of
Yeah.
crazy.
Well, and he just kept going. Like, I mean, I'm sure you've been in the same position when if there is a heckler and they make the show kind of awkward and it's hard to clear the room a little bit, to clear the air when someone
It
does
was
something like that.
so awkward afterwards. After he he says all that stuff when he sits down, and he's like, keep
It's like,
my wife's name out of your mouth. I'm
right.
like, yeah, this got real. I was awkward for him when I was watching it, and I didn't even see it live. I saw it on
Right.
YouTube. I'm
Oh
like,
yeah.
I felt so awkward for him. Like, he's got to be under some kind of cellar, a rock, I mean, somewhere hidden. Because I mean, I've been in that position where it's almost like when you tell. I've said this before. I asked the lady, wow, how many months are you? I'm not pregnant. Oh, okay. And that just kind of like, I've been in that position in a gig where you have no clue. I had somebody kind of just talking like during my set really loud, and it wound up being at it was an event for Wounded Warriors, and what happened was it was like she kept laughing on a delay, and I said, "Wow, you must be on like a delay," and I kept going at it, and afterwards, it was like the mom came up to me and said, "I am so sorry, my daughter kept laughing late. It's just that she has shrapnel from the war in her brain, and it delays everything." And I'm like, "Well,
Oh
who
my
feels like the
gosh.
jerk now?"
Oh yeah. Well,
And I felt so bad, and I
right.
gave her like 2 DVDs of the same one. I was like, I felt so bad. I was like, "Oh, this is,"
Well, that's the thing.
and it was,
But people don't know. I mean, like crowd work is one of the. I mean, it's walking without a tightrope a lot of times,
yeah. I
and you
mean,
don't know, and you're just trying to make something funny, and you're just trying to point out, feel how you feel on stage, and
and if
sometimes you
I
step in
think
it.
any comic, any comedian has been there at least once where you are backpedaling and your set is not working at all. They're not laughing at anything you're saying. They're not even digging you one bit. And you're like, well, let's go for the ad lib train. Come on, everybody. Let's go.
I'll
And
get him
then,
back. I'll get him back.
yeah, I'll get them back. And when you just go deeper and deeper, you're just like, oh, this is not good. You start slapping yourself after that moment.
Exactly. Like
Like,
people in the world, you don't need to slap comedians. We're slapping ourselves mentally
that's right.
every night after every set. Doesn't matter if you killed. You're just like, oh, that one joke could have been better. Take
Yes,
that, me.
yes.
Get
And
that joke out of your mouth.
and when you say the joke, it's like it's it's like it's not like you can take it back. It's like, no, come back.
Slow motion. Wait.
Yeah, it's just like it's out there, it's done, and it's like nowadays with everything, you can't do anything without somebody recording it, and you're like,
Ah.
oh, that's gonna go viral.
At least if it
So
goes
yeah, but
viral, you want
it
it to go
was
viral on your account, right? So you make a little cash. You want a little
yeah,
dough.
something. I mean, come on, at least let's have these on this thing.
Oh
But
man.
yeah, that caught me off guard. I'm a big Will Smith fan. I'm a big
Oh,
Chris
everyone
Rock
is.
fan, and
Yeah, I mean it's
yeah, it caught me off guard. I was kind of I mean, everybody. You go from I was taking my kids to school on the radio, and then I got home and the TV. Everybody's just talking about it, and it's just everybody has their own opinion about it and their side about it. And of course, the violence was a big thing that where you draw the line. And it's like, well, he was defending his wife's honor, and you just never condone violence, and well, maybe in this case, or it's like they kept going back and forth. It was interesting debate, just listening to everybody, kind of going off that thing, and
I mean,
me for
and it's
myself.
hard not to be biased as comedians because, of course, we're
Yeah,
probably all. I mean, I bet most comedians are siding with Chris Rock because we've been in maybe not the same situation, but similar. And it's like,
yeah,
also, he's one of the greatest of all time. I would love for him to make a joke about me. If I fell on my face and did something stupid and it was in the news, and he'd be like, "Oh, Seth Tippetts," I'd be like, "Well, now I can
yeah,
die happy because
yeah. If he
Chris
even get
Rock made a joke about me."
if he slapped me, I would be excited. I'd be like, what? I'm not washing my face. I'm sorry. I mean, I remember I met George Carlin, and I mean, when I say met him, it was not like, "Hey, how you doing, Mr. Carlin?" I was actually at a function, and he was leaving, and he was the guest speaker. As he's leaving, I got up to leave to meet him at the door, and I said, "How you doing, Mr. Carlin? My name's Cleto Rodriguez. I'm from San Antonio, Texas. I'm a comedian as well." He goes, "Good, get out of my way." Shook my hand, and that's what he said. And I'm like, I'm not gonna wash this hand for a while. It's kind of pretty cool.
Oh my gosh, that's fantastic.
May he
That's a
rest in
very
peace.
Carlin move. Good, get out of my way.
Yeah, good. Get out of my way. Stay in school, son. Don't quit your
Don't.
day job.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, we're supposed me and you and Alex Voluto are going to be at the Brontex Theater in New Braunfels, Texas. So if
Oh,
anyone's out in
nice.
Texas, come see Cleto, come see Alex Voluto, and I'll be there as well. I was going to say brought up Alex because right after the Oscars thing happened, he texts me.
Yeah.
He just says, "Hey Seth, you remember that Russian mail order bride that came up on stage and punched you and spit in your face?" And I was like, "I do," but he gave me no context, and I hadn't seen the Oscars thing yet. And I was like, "Oh, it's." He said he saw Will Smith do that, and he's like, "Chris Rock's got nothing on Seth Tippetts. He hasn't been punched by an anorexic Russian lady." But that was my closest. That was my best Heckler story for a while. and then
How funny.
yeah, it was not
Have
good.
you been? Have you performed in Texas a lot?
I've only been to Lubbock. I've been to Lubbock, Texas, which I don't know
Well,
if
yeah.
that's
Don't judge the
all of
rest of
Texas.
Texas, but Lubbock.
Is it representative? Is it representative of the rest of Texas?
No, not at all.
Are you in Texas?
I am. I'm in San Antonio, Texas,
Oh, great. So
and
you're just a half-hour drive from the show. This is gonna
it is
be
a half-hour drive,
no
right? It's
problem.
about 30 minutes. So, I performed at the Brontex Theater before. It's a very lovely theater, very nice. You can have a good time. The crowd comes out too, so we're very. I mean, I'm really pumped up about it.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to work with you. I haven't seen you in person. I have watched
Oh
your
yeah,
special.
oh, you're the one. Thanks, I appreciate it.
I'm the one. I'm I'm the one out of a million, man. This is a
Yeah,
popular special. If you haven't seen his
appreciate
special,
it.
it's called Cleto is my real name, and I've been told that it's available for free for is it a week? I think it's a week.
Oh,
If you
nice.
in the Dry Bar Comedy Plus app. So if you want to go download the app, you can check out his special for free. It's fantastic. Cleto is my real name. You can go to drybarcomedy.com/CletoR because we need to disambiguate with all the we have
Yeah,
48 Cletos in
you know
the
how
in the
many? How
catalog.
many? Again, if there might be a Cleto in Michoacan, Mexico that we don't know about that might be doing stand up. So we don't want to get them mixed up there.
We don't. I mean he's good. He's getting big. I can
It's
already
getting
tell
big.
that other Cleto. Oh man, I really enjoyed your jokes are so relatable. I feel like a lot of comedians. Some people tend to go a little more abstract or get a little more
Yeah.
absurd. Your stuff it just feels like it's all so real. I
Oh yeah.
felt the hair wall jokes that you had
Oh
pretty much
yeah.
at an emotional level. Every girl I've ever dated is always just like just this hair, just the it's like
What?
why is that
What?
better? Well, it's not going down the drain.
Yeah, yeah.
Eventually, it is. It just dries off and peels off. Like that's
This my wife started doing that. She started recently putting clumps of hair on the shower wall and forgetting to throw it away. And I thought it was like an art project at first, where she was trying to like show me this collage that she wanted me to be proud of, and just kind of like escalated from there. And I asked her, "Why do you do this?" She goes, "Well, I don't want to go in the drain." I go, "Well, I got liquid Drano. Let it go down the drain. I'll unplug it, unclog it." It's like, or either that or put a trash can in there for crying out loud. I mean, it's like that thing is disgusting. I mean, it's like a shag carpet on my wall, and it's a small shower to begin with, and I don't need any more, enclosement. Just kind of, I don't need that. I feel like I'm claustrophobic all of a sudden, and like
3
Chewbacca right.
inches from the wall, just pushing you
Yeah,
in.
it's like I got Chewbacca right behind me. I'm like, come on.
Oh, you back up against the wall. You got a built-in loofah now. You get a little
Yeah, yeah.
scratch.
Oh, I mean, yeah, I could probably look at it like that. And then I was telling my wife, I said, this you got to be able to throw that away. And she's just, I mean, people always ask me like when it comes down to my material, like what is it you talk about? And and I try to keep it as relatable as possible. Someone asked me, how come you never talk about um, uh, political stuff or, topical stuff? And I said, because my family doesn't stop talking. As soon as they stop talking, then I'll go ahead and write some stuff like that. But other than
Right.
that, I mean, it's comedy gold over here. My
Yeah. If the well
father,
hasn't run dry,
no,
if
it
you
has
still have a
not.
deep vein of comedy, why go on to something else? If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Exactly. And my dad has become like the focal point of my stand up right now.
Yeah.
And he just moved in with me. So it's like comedy gold over here.
Just
And
24/7.
I'm just writing everything he's saying. I'm just like, what was that? Okay. You threw her out of the house. All right, nice. Okay. So yeah, he doesn't like what's that word? People. And so
What's that word?
yeah, very antisocial, that one. And he doesn't care too much for folks. He doesn't like his side of the family. He doesn't like my mom's side of the family. I don't even know if he likes us, the kids. And I mean, give me an idea how bad he is. He put a list the other day. He gave it to the funeral folks that he has his arrangements with and said, I don't want these people at my funeral. He's the first person to have a bouncer at his funeral. And
Like, I'm sorry, you're not on the list.
Yeah, you're not.
But
You
he
didn't
was
make
my
it.
cousin. Well, he didn't like you that much.
He didn't like you. You're not on the VIP, sir. Sorry.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Yeah, and I wish I was
take a
lying,
page from that
and
book.
I'm not.
I want that.
I wish I was lying, but I'm not. He just He's just something else, my dad. He's
That's
crazy.
fantastic. So did you pick up his antisocial? Are you an introvert or an extrovert? I like to ask comedians because I feel like there is a pretty wide swath. A lot of people think we're all extroverts, but I'm not sure.
You know, I do like a little downtime, but I'd have to say I'm more of an extrovert. I was working for the local news station here for 9 years, and I was always out and about in the mornings. And it was a man on the street kind of piece. I wasn't a typical reporter. I was just a man on the street kind of deal, doing all the funny stuff,
Yeah.
and just kind of like asking questions to folks. And I did that for 9 years, and I was out and about. And I remember I get home and it's just like I just wanted downtime, and
Mm.
of course, my wife and kids are like, "We didn't pay for this. What's going on?
We didn't.
Let's go do some stuff. Come on, Dad. You just slept all day. Yeah, I woke up at 4 in the morning every morning, so it's like
Oof.
naps became really, they were like gold for me, naps. So I mean, but
Well,
again,
4 in the morning. That's
yeah,
prime nap potential. After
yeah.
I don't think I ever wake up that early unless I have a flight. That's
Yeah, and that's what it was like. It was like for us comedians, it's like waking up for a flight, and because I remember I did not almost take the gig because of that reason. I'm not a morning guy. I remember
I
I
don't
was
think anyone
getting
becomes a
interviewed.
comedian because they're morning people. Because it's a night
Yeah,
you're like most active at night, and it's no
yeah,
one's like, oh yeah, I want to wake up really early every day. I'll just become an accountant if I wanted to wake
that's
up. Like,
right. Yeah, I had the interview, and they were asking me like, what did you how did you say? I said, "What time do I need to be at the station?" And they go, "Oh, about 4:30." I go, "Great, I'll drop my kids off from school, have a little time to get some meat." And they go, "No, no, no, in the morning." And I go, "Well, you did hear I'm a comedian, right? I mean, I'm starting my second dream at 4:30 in the morning. Are you kidding me?" It's like, man, so I almost did not take it, and I tried it out, and then next thing you know, I was hired because I mean, it felt like it was just like I was going to a flight, so it was no big deal after that. So
Oh
then I got to
man,
come home and sleep.
that's the exact. I would think the same thing. Oh great, after school works out.
Yeah.
No one
Yeah,
thinks
and not
4
only that, but
a.m. The
you want to hear
a.m.
some you want to hear something really funny is that the guy who was interviewing was my boss. And to a comedian, GM, VP, CEO, all these things mean something. To me, he said he was the news director. Yeah, that just means intern to me. Okay.
You're
I
just
have no
talking. I'm
idea
like,
what
yeah,
that
okay,
is.
okay,
I have no
Junior, whatever.
idea. So I'm literally like, when he said that, I'm thinking he's the intern. So I'm like, okay, ask me, Seth, how long have you been doing stand up? Ask me that.
How long you been doing stand up?
Yeah, 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 yeah. Can you pass the ketchup? That's how I'm talking to this guy. I'm talking to my future boss like this. And when I found out later on that he was my boss, I knocked on his door. I'm like, you can I have a do-over?
Oh my gosh, that's fantastic.
So yeah, I was kind of I
And
didn't know
then
how that was gonna work out.
turns out the thing they loved the most about you in the interview is like he was very confident. He wasn't intimidated at all that he was
And
talking to
and
the
that
news
worked in my
director.
favor. It worked in my favor. It really did.
I mean, you got the job. So I mean, how bad could it have been? Maybe if you would have went in there all nervous, you're like, "Oh my gosh, the news director." He's like, "You know what? We need someone who can take charge. We don't
That's right.
need we don't need this pass the fries kind of guy." Like
That's right. That's right. Yeah, I was that helped in my favor, and there I was for 9 years. I mean, actually I remember I was there for like a 3 month audition or an interview, and I remember I got frustrated waking up so early in the morning. I went into his office, I go, "Look, Haas, if you don't know by now if you're gonna hire me, I'm not waking up this early in the morning anymore. Come on."
right,
And he
sunk
goes, "Oh no,
cost.
no, you got the gig. You got the gig." So like, all right, cool.
Again, taking charge. Listen, intern. Okay, I'm not waking up at 4 unless there's some cheddar involved. All right, give me
That's
some
right. I
cash.
gotta get some. I gotta get some insurance here, sir. Thanks. That HMO's calling my name.
I mean, and as a comedian, the insurance. It's the
It's
perk.
all
That's the
about the insurance. Oh my goodness. And then last when they let me go due to COVID and budget cuts last March. And I remember um I had got COVID really bad last August. And
mm,
man, I was in ICU for like 2.5 weeks,
oh my
and I
gosh.
had no insurance. And I'm like, oh, this is gonna be horrible. I mean, and let me tell you, you gotta get insurance. I mean, if you're a comic, you got to go get insurance. Now I'm over here doing a spokesperson for an insurance agency. Go figure.
The last people in the
You
world. It's
get
like
discount.
self-employed road warriors,
That's
and it's
right.
like, no, 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 you need insurance. Well, I'm sorry to hear. I'm glad you had a good recovery eventually. Geez,
Yeah,
ICU.
it was pretty scary. It
That's
was
some scary business.
yeah, the doctors were like, calling me like a walking miracle because I had the COVID pneumonia. I didn't
Mm.
know that was a thing, but it was like all my x-rays were just like it was like looking at a cloudy day. I mean, it was
Oh my
just so
gosh.
bad. You couldn't see any black in there whatsoever and no skeleton, no nothing. I'm like, is this thing on? And they're like, no, it's on. And you know, the so many people, the nurses, I got to give them a big shout out. The doctors and the nurses in the IC unit all over the country, just helping everyone, get better. Is I mean, you got to get the hats off to them because they're so immune to the deaths that happen in the ICU that I asked this one nurse, I said, what are the chances of me getting out of here? And the nurse, I kid you not, this is her response. About 50-50, maybe. I don't know. Maybe. And I'm like, she goes, you want more blankets?
You
Uh,
want more
no.
blankets?
I want a banana split. If I'm gonna go out, let's go out big. You know what I mean? I mean, it's kind of like,
You're like, I could
no.
deal without the like
Yeah,
nobody wants their life talked about like it's like
it was like, I kid you not, that is exactly how she said it. About 50-50, maybe. I don't know. You want some more ice chips? No.
you want some more? Give me a Sunday. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. So it sounds like
It
you
was,
do you have some material about that? I know. I mean, like a lot of people think that certain things can't be joked about, but I think pain plus time equals comedy. And
yeah. I
do you have
think
some
for
COVID
myself,
material, or is that too political
I,
still?
it's interesting because I got interviewed from the newspaper here locally, and being on the news, everyone pretty much was familiar with the platform and so on, and they were like, "Well, are you gonna make jokes about this?" And I said, "About COVID, no, but about my experience, yes." I mean,
Yeah.
it's just what I do. It's just, not to. I mean, and the reason I say that is because I learned firsthand while I was in ICU. The hardest part for me in there was not so much me breathing and knowing if I was gonna, be alive the next day because it was so unpredictable. This virus was so unpredictable that it plays with your head, and you just, you're fatigued, you got brain fog, you had your lungs just clogged up with junk, and you have no oxygen in you whatsoever, and they're just got this airflow mask just shoving everything in. And then the hardest part for me though was my father-in-law was two doors down, and he
Mm.
was 77. He had Alzheimer's, and the hard part for me was I couldn't comfort him, I couldn't be near him, I couldn't get near to him, and he was put on a ventilator, and unfortunately he passed.
Mm.
And it
Sorry
was
to hear that.
so rough. Thanks. It was so rough on my wife because she was she was an emotional roller coaster, and for myself, it was just all of a sudden. While I was, I mean, it was like, I mean, I was in the ICU for the first 4 days, and I totally forgot I was a comedian. Like none of that mattered at
Right.
all. And I mean, you talk about a whole new perspective on life. And I know this is not where we're going on this live stream, but I apologize for that. But yeah,
Oh
it was
no.
just, it's just something that, for myself, it's a whole new perspective on life. Like there are no more hell gigs for me. Like everyone
Yeah.
is a perfect gig, and it's just like I'm grateful to be on that stage, performing and doing what I love to do. And but yeah, I can't seem to, I talk about bits and pieces of my experience, and people laugh. They laugh. I think people are ready to laugh,
Yeah.
coming out from the pandemic, and with all the politics going on. And I just think as comedians, I mean, we're in desperate need to be, I mean, it's like people have a different perspective of comedians after what happened at the Oscars. Well, not every comedian is like Chris Rock. Not every
Right.
comedian is like Chappelle. Not every comedian is like Cleto Rodriguez. I mean, it's just, there's some that know where the line is, and there's some that don't care where the line is. It's
Right.
just, I mean, I watch, I was telling my wife we're watching what's that, Miss Maisel. I don't know if you are familiar
Um,
with that on
I've
the.
been told it's great. I haven't seen it myself,
It's
but
really great. It's really good. But it was neat is that they have, the character Lenny Bruce, is portraying as Lenny Bruce on there. And I mean, I've done, research on a lot of comics when I first started doing stand up. I became a student of the art and the craft, and you trying to find your voice. You're trying to find what it is that what separates you from everybody else. And I always admired those that were able to cross that line or go to it and tippy toe on it, or just kind of stood out, just by their humor. And I mean, you had different comics that like Pryor. I was raised with Pryor and Eddie Murphy, and then my favorite comic of all time is Dangerfield, Ronnie Dangerfield. So
Dangerfield's
I
fantastic.
mean, it's just to me, it's whatever is your comedic like, and just go from there. I mean, I really think Chris Rock is one of the most intelligent, hilarious comedians out there. Just some of the stuff that he comes up with, and some of his specials have been like, I mean,
Oh yeah.
they're fantastic. And you kind of like you see the bar and where's it's raised, and but again, I don't think he had any idea that his wife had that condition of losing her hair, and he just kind of made that joke. And I mean, Will Smith naturally responded to her facial expression, and saw that she was hurt by it,
Like,
and just
I
went
feel
up
like he
there and
laughed first, though. Didn't he laugh?
yeah,
It
he
looked like he
did.
was.
He
It looked
did
like he
laugh,
was
and I
like,
thought
"Ha, that's funny."
that's why I thought this was a bit. I'm thinking because and then I hear Chris Rock say, "Oh, here, Richard, here comes Selena Venus's dad, Richard, Williams," and I'm like, oh, here it's gonna be a bit. And
Right.
what really funny to me is that my wife, I was coming from a gig last night in Houston. I'm driving home, and it's about 12 midnight. My wife's on social media. She's with me, and she's like, it looks like Will Smith. They're talking about the Oscars. Will Smith slapped Kid Rock. I don't know why. I don't know why he slapped Kid Rock. And I'm like, Kid Rock? I go, he was at the Oscars? Wow. I didn't think
Didn't know he was on the up and up. I didn't know he had an invite.
didn't know he was part of the crew. I was like, all right, that must be a bit. It's got to be a bit, And sure enough, I look and I go, oh, it's Chris Rock.
That's funny.
Okay. And
And
then
it's
when I
funny because
saw
they
it,
did abbreviate. They kept calling them by their last names, and so it was always Rock and Smith. And every
yeah,
time I
Rocky
read it, I
Smith.
was
Yeah.
thinking The Rock, and I was like, I don't think
Yeah.
Will Smith would slap The Rock. I don't think he would. I don't think that would happen.
And it's funny because one of the questions I got this morning with a friend of mine, he goes, "What would you've done if you were Chris Rock and Will Smith slapped you?" I'm like, nothing. Look how big Will Smith is. I mean, if I'm Chris Rock and I'm his body, I'm like, yeah, you know what? I'm gonna let that one slide. Go ahead, go for it. Don't worry about me. I'm good. Not glass. I'm good. You know. I mean, it's just it was
If it
just
was
kind of crazy how that turned out.
if it was a regular show, I feel like I would have addressed it. But I get that it's the Oscars, and you kind of just have to stick to the script because it's been approved, and it's the sponsors, and you got all the glitz to it.
Well, the Oscars didn't even they were talking about they didn't have the ratings that like they've done in the past.
Uh,
So I would say millions were watching, but maybe not. but
Maybe
a
this is
lot
how
of people were.
they're going to get millions next year. They're like, well, remember what happened
Oh,
last year?
and
Maybe you drop
yeah,
by. Maybe
and don't be surprised if there's a bit that's just like that, but instead of a slap, here comes roses from the inside jacket. There you go.
they'll probably address it, right? They're going to have a bit
Oh,
next year. They have
I
to.
what'd be really cool, honestly, is if somehow, because I mean, I heard that Chris Rock didn't press charges, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool on his part. He may have felt bad, and by that, hey, okay, cool. So, but I think if they can come together, somehow, some way, make it right between themselves, and then come do that bit next year. Now
Oh, that'd be
that would
great.
be hilarious.
That'd
I
be
would
great.
die laughing. I would die laughing.
Will Smith should make a joke about someone close to Chris Rock and just he comes up and
Yeah.
slaps him, just the
Talk
reverse.
about Adam Sandler, and he's like, you know what? You know
Get
what?
my friend's name out of your mouth. Adam Sandler,
Oh,
ooh, like,
yeah.
oh man. Well, I hope that happens now. We got a question from Allie. I loved your special. What is your favorite part about doing comedy?
Ooh. My favorite part, man,
I
it's
know it's
gotta
a
be
hard question.
yeah, I mean, my favorite part of doing comedy is probably just, I know it ain't the writing, I can tell you that. It's gotta be the performing. The performing, I mean, I went to, like, I would have to say just performing stand-up, and the applause is probably, the laughter is just so gratifying because as comics, we work on our material, we work on our jokes, and we perfect them, I remember I went to the comedy club here in San Antonio, and I remember they had I was at the Improv, and they were showing the list of comedians or acts that were coming into town, and I'm looking at them and I go, I don't know any of these comedians, and they go, that's because they're not comedians, they're YouTube stars and TikTok sensations. And this guy right here,
Oh,
he's got 2 million followers for juggling wet cats. I said, you mean to tell me that
wet
I'm at
cats.
home? Yeah, I said, I'm at home busting my brain trying to find a punchline. And this guy is booked a week because he juggles wet cats. You know what? I'm a TikTok star now. I'm going to be a TikTok star. That's it. You know what I mean? And Allie, thank you so much for watching the special. I appreciate it. I really do. That
It
was just
does.
something else.
It does make you wonder. Like every time I see some video that goes like super viral, I look at my special. I'm like, oh, I got 1 million, whatever, and then I look at like you said, some cat video, a cat falling over, and it's got 48 billion views, and I'm just like, oh, it's time to
I
hang it up. Time to hang it
I
up. Let's put in the towel.
they one of the managers said that it doesn't matter the talent anymore. It's just you got to put butts in the seats. And I'm like, you know what? I told my kids the other day after I heard that I'm gonna be a TikTok star. And I've been telling my 14 and 15-year-old jokes all their lives, and I never heard them laugh so hard in my life when I told them I was gonna be a TikTok star.
Now, do you have
They're
a
like,
TikTok? Have you been
I,
posting?
I
Are you
I
active
do
on the
have a
TikToks?
TikTok. I'm on my way to 2 million. I'm at 109 right now. I'm on my way, Seth. I'm gonna get there. I got some videos. You go to C Rodriguez, 5021. I'm right there. See, what is it? C Rodriguez, I believe. I want to make sure I got it right. Let's see. I
Check
got
out
my
Cleto on TikTok. C Rodriguez.
yeah. Let's see here. Oh, it is C Rodriguez 5021. That's it. And
5020.
actually, I'm actually at 18. I'm like 1,879 on my way to 2 million, folks.
Oh, there you go.
So yeah, I mean, please go like and follow my TikTok because I want to prove my kids wrong. Because when they laughed at me, I'm gonna be honest, it was a bit hurtful, and I wanted to prove them wrong, and hopefully I can. I just
Let's
it
prove you
takes a
kids
it's a
wrong.
process. It's a job
Oh
doing
yeah.
TikTok. You got to do
You got
like
to be on
all
there
these
every
videos
day, and you got
every
to.
day. Who's got that kind of time?
I
I'm
don't.
like at night. I'm like, man, uh, I wish I could just submit one, and I'm like, all right, yay,
You're
fame, all
like, yeah.
right,
Why
great.
can't I? Oh, he's the guy from that one, and then you just get booked
Yeah,
for the
yeah,
rest of your life. That would be
yeah,
that's the ticket. Why is it so hard? We have
yeah.
Vanessa watching on YouTube. Do you add Spanish to your sets?
I add Spanish words. I do Spanish words every now and then. I'll throw a mija in there, mijo. I'll do because mostly when I'm imitating my parents, my sister, or my aunt. I do Spanish in there, but my Spanish is not is what they would call no bueno. So yeah, yeah, like everybody picked up Spanish in my family except me, and I don't know, maybe because I was too much being a comedian and a clown
You picked up
to.
comedy. It's its own
I picked
language.
up comedy. I picked up something else. That one uncle. When are you gonna get a real job, mijo? Come on, you're gonna be a star in this business.
You got to be a star.
You're gonna be a star. You're gonna make it. You got potential, kid.
You got Speaking of language and finding your voice, I love the voice you do. I did watch your special at a little bit faster than normal speed, just because that's how I watch YouTube videos, because I'm a weirdo. But it did seem like it was a similar voice for maybe your children, your wife. It felt like you were almost on the verge of tears, but it was so funny to
Oh,
me.
yeah,
The little voice you
that
do when you're impersonating other people,
yeah,
and
it's like my wife, it's like it sounds like I'm a like for instance, I would say, my wife and I celebrated our 22-year anniversary. People clap, and I'm like, I found out during I found out during the quarantine that my wife really doesn't like me at all. I found out, and it's like that crying little whimper kind of deal, and
I
then
love it.
people just really gravitate to it. They love it. They're like, man, they got to keep doing that. And then I remember one time someone came up to me and said, "Talk about your fat mom." I'm like, my mom's not fat. And they go, "Aren't you?" And it was like they had a whole total. It was a friend of mine, another comedian out of El Paso, and God rest his soul, Freddie Soto, and he passed away a few years back. And I mean, he would get we looked alike, and people would always get us mixed up. And they go, yeah, they'll come and tell me about, hey, you got to talk about your crazy dad. I'm like, yeah. And he go, well, and then they tell me the joke. I go, oh, that's not me. That's Freddie. That's I mean, and it's like every go, oh, you're so funny. And then they would tell me all his jokes. And I'm like, yeah, I'm sorry to let you down, but you came to the wrong show. I'm just
Like,
gonna
I am that funny, but not that
not
funny.
not that.
Not
Yeah. I talk more about my mom than I do my dad.
Oh my gosh. So did you
But yeah,
how did you develop that voice? Was that something that you had when you started out and you just kind of did it, or was that did that just creation happen and then you just started using it more in your act, because
I
it is
just started using
fantastic.
it. Yeah, I just started using it more in my act. I noticed in the crowds that people would laugh at it, and it just stayed with me. And it was something that I was literally talking about, and I was afraid to talk about because my wife was in the audience, and I forgot she was in the audience. And I go, "It's gonna be a long ride home because you know I forgot my wife is here, and she's over there." And my wife, at first, even I mean, are you married, Seth?
I was. I was. I
Was
got
okay.
divorced during the pandemic.
Sorry to hear that. Yeah, I
She
almost
never got
did.
the coronavirus, but she clearly lost her sense of taste. Boom.
You know,
Do I
my
have divorce jokes about the coronavirus? I sure do.
let me tell you, let me tell you, I admit this during the show, and I agree with it that during the pandemic, alcohol sales and divorces were up.
Oh yes.
And believe me, I'm at 2 bottles a day now. Um,
2 bottles a day.
I'm just kidding. It's three. It's three. But we, yeah, we kind of,
Oh man,
I
making me
get
laugh
it.
too hard.
I get it. I know the protocol now. It's like it was like for some reason, I don't know if the whole thing when because I mean this special came out right before
Yeah.
COVID hit, so it came out like pretty much the right time, for me because people were just at home not doing anything, and I had one lady go, "Oh, I watched your, I almost didn't watch your special. I didn't know it was in English." Yeah, it was in English. I have to give that disclaimer every now and then. But the
Yeah.
sad part is that she was my aunt. Um,
You didn't know it was in English?
yeah, I mean, and I had a lady one time. I was selling my DVDs after a show in Oklahoma, and they're walking by, and I had literally just said, these are all in English. Oh, well, hold on, we got to get one, March. And it's like all of a sudden, I'm like, you just heard my whole act. It was in English. I didn't.
I
So
only
it's kind of
record in Spanish. I know it's just the specials are in Spanish and everything
yeah.
live is
Christmas
English.
special comes out in Spanish. Keep it real. Keep it real. Feliz Navidad is the title of my next one, everybody. Hope y'all like that.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, the coronavirus was, I think it was good for comedy that's already been filmed. It wasn't good that all the clubs shut down, but yeah, I had several
Yeah.
people who like had COVID and they're like, I would never have sat through 48 hours of dry bar comedy if I didn't have COVID, but I did. And on the 48th hour, I found your special because it was the bottom of the barrel, and
Thank
and
you very
I
much.
was like,
Yes.
oh, ouch. That's well, I'm glad you watched it.
Yeah, and not only that, but it's like when mine came out, I was so excited, and like you said, it's at the top of the heap. And then now it's like you tell someone about Driver, I couldn't find it anywhere.
There's
I couldn't find
48,000
it.
videos.
If I couldn't, where are I? It's under Cleto R. Cletor. That's like my name, Cletor. Cleto R. And like they just had a hard time. So I sent them to YouTube to watch the clips from Dry Bar, and it was like, okay, So plus I'm still paying it off, so I'm hoping everybody watches it right now. So I can
Everybody go check out his special. Cleto is my real name. Go to drybarcomedy.com/CletoR, and you can get yourself a free trial with the Dry Bar Comedy Plus app. I believe it should auto-populate a promo code so that Cleto can help pay off that special a little faster.
A little faster, that'd be great. I mean, I think the pay scales changed since the pandemic, I'm assuming. So, yeah, I need as much help as I can get, so I'm almost there. They even told me, like, you're like almost there. I'm like, all right, so hopefully this will be that big push I need to finally pay it off. And
That's
then,
right.
that'll be great. Then I just have my car to pay off and I'll be good.
Also, come check us out. We're both going to be live. Us and Alex Valuto going to be live in the new Braunfels. It's not the new Braunfels Theater. It's the Braunfels Theater in New Braunfels.
Theater, right.
What happened to old Braunfels, huh? Did it burn down? This is going to be my opening joke on that show, and it's not going to go well. But
you're going to get somebody come up there and slap you right there on the stage.
You get New Braunfels out of your mouth. I'm sure this is going to be super relevant in a week from now. Let's see, when is it? April 14th?
The 14th. I mean, it's just, I'm kind of curious to see what comedians, how they react to it, and or how they're reacting to it. I mean, I know pretty much like you said, majority of the comedians are signing, with Chris Rock. I mean, we don't want anybody ever coming on stage and just slapping us for no. Okay, you didn't like the joke? All right. Well, I got another one.
We don't need to normalize it. There's like a line of people waiting to slap me after a joke. It's like
airplane,
like an airplane.
Bats and crowbars and chains.
Boxing gloves. That's going to be the new thing. And people don't bring tomatoes anymore. They bring brass knuckles when they hear Seth's closer. That's what.
My wife is so funny because my wife was like, that was a pretty honorable thing that he did for his wife. Would you do that for me?
That looks like a no-win situation. I don't know.
I'm sorry, babe. Did you say something? What'd you say? She goes, would you go up there and do that for me? I'm like, what kind of day are we having? I'm just wondering. I mean, no, I told her, of course I would. I go, but if he looked like Will Smith, you're on your own, babe. I'm just gonna my wife, she doesn't know what she's talking about. Don't even worry. You know what? Say whatever you want to say about it. I don't care.
And that's the last time I took my wife to a comedy show.
That's absolutely right. Yeah.
And never on the front row. That's a noob mistake in the beginning, right? Like you don't want to.
You know what's so funny, and I've seen other comics talk about this, but I took my wife to a comedy show not too long ago. Well, actually, it was an event that I was performing at, and they had two comedians. And I was kind of co-headlining with this other gentleman. Actually, he was the headliner, I was the MC. And he says, he's funny. He was hilarious. And my wife is laughing like she's never laughed before in her life. And I'm like, I'm
sitting right here.
I do this too, babe. But she's heard all my stuff before.
Sure.
So I have to go away and, in a secluded area and start writing some new material just so she can laugh again. So
I thought
she doesn't really think I'm funny, Seth.
Go have a good.
She really does not think I'm funny.
I was gonna ask how your wife reacts to your material, especially since you have some stuff about her.
She doesn't like at first she didn't like me talking about her and our, she was afraid to talk to me because she didn't want it to be a bit.
Right.
And I'm like, well, I had this conversation with her and I said, she was like, what? Because we were watching Sebastian Maniscalco,
Mhm.
That's how I say his name, and I love his stand-up. I love he's great. And he was there performing like at Rockefeller Theater or somewhere, like that, and in New York. And he had all these stars and everybody there, and I and my wife's going, huh, why aren't you where he's at? I go, where, New York? Or just there right now performing? Yeah, right there where he's performing. You've been performing for a long time. I go, I don't know, maybe it's because his manager got him that and stuff like that. And he lets him, you notice he's talking all about his wife, you know. Maybe he has
Ah,
that freedom.
smart.
Maybe he has that freedom. If I had that freedom, woohoo,
It's like
boy.
don't put a lid on my creativity, maybe,
That's
and then
right. That Madison
maybe.
Square Garden's around the corner. But if you start complaining, hey, come on, geez. But yeah, she had got bothered by it for a while, and then she saw my check and she said, "Yeah, see what you want about me. I don't care." She goes, "Yeah, go ahead. I don't care. It don't matter." So, but yeah, it's
That's
you
hard. I
know,
think those are the unsung heroes, is the spouses of comedians.
yeah.
Because it's I mean, nobody's heard our jokes more than us, and so I don't think anyone really has the right to be more sick of our jokes than us,
I
except for maybe
turned
the spouses. That was
that's right. I turned 50 last year, and my wife, they were doing a roast for me on my birthday. And I was like, I thought it was gonna be a comedy show. It turned out to be a roast, a surprise roast.
oh, those
And
are
they
the
said
best
they had,
kind.
yeah, of
Just
course.
ask Will Smith.
That's exactly. You never know when this is gonna pop off. And my wife was the special guest roast, and I'm thinking, they go, yeah, I want to bring up our special surprise. This person's gonna roast you, and she's a surprise roaster, and please give it up for your wife, Lynette. And I'm like, oh, this is bad. This is gonna be bad. I go, oh, I don't know what she's gonna say. She is an introvert for one. She's not funny, and I didn't know what she was gonna say about me. She's very truthful, okay? And I'm like,
There's
so
gonna
all
be
of
a
a sudden
laundry
she
list of
goes,
things that you haven't done it that are around the house yet.
she says, she goes up there, she goes, yeah, they wanted me to roast my husband. And I said, I really don't want to do that. I want to, I leave that to the other comedians. I mean, I don't think it's very honoring, and I don't want to do that. But since I'm here, and she busts out this scroll of just a long piece of paper, and I was like, she goes, but since I'm here, I'll go ahead and start with his diabetes. And I'm like, oh my god, oh, I was so proud of her. I was like, that is timing, babe. That was great. Good job. Now you can sit
Learned a
down.
trick of the trade. Now you can sit down.
So it
Oh,
was kind of crazy.
that's
It was kind of
fantastic.
crazy. But
I've
yeah,
only been
it
roasted
was
once, and someone said I'm the part in the song where Taylor Swift raps, and that was the meanest insult I've ever been told. I don't.
that what?
They said Seth. It's like Seth's like this part in the Taylor Swift song when she raps. And it's pretty. That's the only one I remember anyway. The other ones didn't hurt so bad.
Yeah, yeah. My wife, I one time was telling her a joke, and she was reading a book, and I was like, huh, huh? And this is what I got back, said. Like that was it. And then I went back to the living room, and I was watching the History Channel. I'm a history buff. I love history. And I was watching the History Channel, and they're talking about the first Starbucks was opened up in like 1977. And I was like, wow, I didn't even know that. That was like in 1990 or something like that,
Sure. Yeah.
And sure enough, I go over there and I tell my wife, did you know that the first Starbucks was, started in 1977? This is what I got back.
Of course I knew that.
Another bit of useless trivia I will never use in life.
She just doesn't like any bits. No, doesn't like comedy bits or
No, no.
Starbucks
I
factoids.
mean, I don't know why she said this yesterday when we were both watching on YouTube of what happened last night at the Oscars, but slap him hard. Wait, where'd that come from? Like all of it, like Chris Rock was representing every comedian, like slap him hard.
Slap him
Like,
hard. He
okay.
should have slapped him twice. You're just like, you're basically
Like,
saying to
wow.
slap my soul. It's
Yeah. It's like she had it out for all the comedians, like no matter what. I was like, that's why you're in the act.
That's exactly. Have you ever? So, I mean, sounds like she responds to some of your material that way a fair amount. Have you ever had like a joke that you're really excited about that just died because of the way
Oh,
she responded? You're like, I'm excited. I'm going to do this joke. And then she's just like, really? That one? And then you're just like, you know what? Not even taking it. I'm not, nothing, not even open mic worthy. It's, we're done with this one.
she's done. She has. I've tried bits on her, and I know if I can make her laugh, then it's gold.
Right.
It's a keeper. But she is just so hard to make laugh, and I mean, she fits more into my act just by what she does than her, helping me create something.
Right.
And because when she tries to help me create something, it's not funny at all. And I'm just like, oh, okay, yeah, I can
That's
see
a,
that.
yeah, it's a
Yeah.
great tag. That's gonna,
Yeah.
that's gonna go right
That's a
in.
callback if I ever heard one. I'm like, wow, sweetie, this one. And there was one time she threw something at me. She goes, you should probably say that. Like when you hit the piñata, just rocks came out. Obviously, it's a work in progress. Okay. We're going to wait for that punchline to get here, sweetie. All right. How about the setup? How about that?
Oh my gosh, I love the setup, the punchline.
Yeah.
We'll work on that. We'll workshop it.
Yeah,
We'll take it
I like where your head's at.
back to the lab.
Hmm. Back to the studio. We'll get that going.
Oh man, that's fantastic. Well, Cleto, where can people find you? We know you're on TikTok. We got
Yeah,
the
TikTok.
we
See,
got
see
TikTok.
Rodriguez 5021, and I will not stop till I reach 2 million followers, folks. And
Just to show it
or
to
a
your
sold out
kids
show. That's it.
from just TikTok. I do
From
want
just
like so
TikTok.
apparently TikTok is selling tickets if they're booking people who are TikTok stars. I didn't
Oh
actually know that
man,
was a thing.
I was amazed at how much money some of these TikTok people make. I
From
mean, they got
TikTok or
these
just on the road?
on TikTok, on
Really?
TikTok, just TikTok. I mean, there's two brothers that are like they got tattoos all over their face, these island boys, and they got their hair, and I mean, they're just like banking. I mean, just not doing anything but just coming on and just saying hi and stuff like that. And I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go tattoo my face now. I'm like, you know what?
If that's what it
I'm
takes.
jumping on board now. I'm gonna, my my next special is gonna be called Island Boy from Mexico. And
Island boy from
no,
Mexico.
it's actually, you can find me on CletoRodriguez.com and all the social media platforms, Cleto Rodriguez, and that's a good way to find me there as well. YouTube channel, all that stuff. Maybe if I'm active more, I could probably get more people to come to the gigs.
That's right. It's well, you mentioned the people going live and just talking for 5 seconds and they get a zillion views or whatever. That was my
Yeah,
goal. It was my goal for Q1 of this year to get 1,000 followers on TikTok so I could go live when I had a headlining show down
yeah.
at it was an encore show at the Dry Bar venue, and I went live. I was there for an hour and five. I did, and I had 200 people that tuned in to watch it at all, and I'm just like 200. There were 46,000 people that watched the lady do her nails. How is my act not as good as painting nails? I gotta hang it up. I gotta hang it up. 'Cause it's like, what? How does that happen? These social media things. It just destroys my confidence. I just need to
It,
get off the
it,
internet.
it's a hurtful thing. It is a
So,
hurtful. It has no shame whatsoever, none whatsoever.
so if you want to see Cleto digitally, which I would prefer that you come to see him live on April 14th at the Braunfels Theater. That's definitely the best way to see comedy. You would agree with that, right? Like
Absolutely, yeah.
if you watch the special, like your special's fantastic, but most comedy when you
Thank you.
watch it on the internet, you get nose laughs, right? Like
Yeah,
you're watching it on the toilet, you're watching it before you go to bed. It's just not the same as watching it in a live place. You got the crowd dynamic. People are laughing. You smell people next to you. It's fantastic. You get some nachos. Like it's a better experience. So if you haven't
it
been to
is
a
a
live
better
show,
experience.
come to a live show. If you're in Texas, if you're near Austin or San Antonio, I think those are both driving distance. Uh,
They
come
are
see.
both. I mean, so you said something that made me laugh. It's like they smell. You get. I remember I was doing a gig and I went to the restroom and I was using the urinal and right above it is my face. And it's like, catch Cleto Rodriguez tonight in the main room. And I'm like, no, that's when you know you made it, my friend. You know? I
You
mean,
know,
I mean,
when they have to advertise on the uronals.
you know what?
Talk
I mean,
about
over here,
captured audience.
the sad part is I'm bragging about it with the other guy next to me. Look at that, man. Look at that.
You
Now you know
see,
you made it.
look familiar? It's myself. Have you seen this mug before? And then they're like, they go out and say, "Oh my gosh, he's on stage. That's the guy I saw in the bathroom." And everyone's like, "Why is that? That's not famous. He's in the bathroom. People go to the bathroom."
Oh, that guy right there. He is so funny. I tell you.
And I only saw him in the
Right in the
bathroom. He was
middle.
hilarious. And
No, he killed in urinal numbers too.
his
Seth,
type
I'm
5
looking
at the
forward to
urinal
it.
was
I'm looking forward to your Braunfels. That's gonna be awesome.
that's
I
going to be
can't
great.
wait.
Well, it's been fun talking to you. I've had it's been a blast.
Let's do it
We
again
definitely
soon.
hashed out. I think we've solved it. We've solved world hunger and certainly the controversy at the Oscars about Dune. We've solved it
Yeah,
all.
you know,
We've
come
talked it
on,
out.
folks. Whoever the voters are. Look, I ever it was bad enough. Someone asked me, did you see the Oscars last night? I said, no, I've been boycotting the Oscars for years. Ever since they didn't give Prince an Oscar for Purple Rain, I was done. No, that was
I'm out.
ridiculous.
I'm out,
I'm
baby.
out. Nah, he had his little high heel boots that he was dancing on a piano and on the stage, and can't see that talent. You don't deserve my viewership. Sorry.
Any man who I mean, like, this is weird, but I have worn heels before. I wear a size 16 shoe, and I played an old lady in a musical once for some reason. And ever since then, I really respect Prince. Just because of the heels. I was
Yeah. I mean, I'll tell you, I had for Halloween, I was Prince last year, and I was chubby Prince because the coat didn't fit and the button came off. But I mean, hey, it was karaoke night, and I did Purple Rain, and because you don't have to move. The mariachi pants were a little too much, but it's all right.
Oh boy. It's a good thing we're remote because I've been coughing this whole interview because you just keep making me laugh. I was thinking, like, you know what? As long as I don't laugh, it'll be fine.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have banked on it after watching your special. Check out his special in the Dry Bar Comedy Plus app. Cleto, thanks so much for joining me.
You got it, but thanks a lot, Seth. Take care of yourself. Thanks for having me.
See you guys later.